friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and I am here today to talk to you about a book that I am so overjoyed about. It's a book that I know myself and my colleagues and friends have been really looking forward to. It just released a week or two ago, and I read it, I loved it, and now I am here to talk to you about it. So, if you are familiar with contemporary literature, you may have heard of the author Emily Henry before. The past couple years, she's been taking the publishing industry by storm by coming out with really amazing romantic comedies that have just been, they're hilarious, they're heartwarming, they're just so perfect. And one after the other, there's just been so many really good ones. Well, her newest one was coming out this year, and like I said, we've all been really excited for it. Finally came out, read it. It is something else. And that book is called Funny Story by Emily Henry. Funny Story. Now, her last book that came out last year, which was called Happy Place, was not my favorite of her books. That distinction held with one called Book Lovers, which obviously, because it was about a book editor and, two book editors falling in love, enemies to lovers sort of thing. I didn't think I was going to ever love one that was going to top that. This one comes close. I think I love this one just as much, if not a little bit more, than Book Lovers, which is really impressive feat because, like I said, I absolutely adored Book Lovers. So if you have not read anything by her before, doesn't matter. They're all, standalone books. You don't have to have any previous knowledge of her books. But I think if you are already a fan of her, you will be very pleased with this installment. So, Funny Story. Okay, what is it about? Basically, it is about this woman named Daphne who is a children's librarian. First and foremost, of course, when there is a main character that's a librarian, we are here for it. I was so excited. So, main character Daphne, she is a children's librarian. She has this fiance named Peter. She loves when he tells the story. Oh, it's such a funny story of how we met and fell in love and all this, blah, blah, blah. They're engaged, going to be married soon. Everything's going wonderfully according to plan until Peter realizes that he's actually in love with his childhood best friend, Petra. Been best friends their whole lives, really, really close. And one night he realizes, you know what, actually, Daphne, I don't love you. I love Petra. And we're actually weddings off because now we're going to get married instead. Yeah, it's as crappy as it sounds. Holy crap. So imagine that movie, My Best Friend's Wedding, which I'm probably dating myself. I don't know if anybody remembers that film, but My Best Friend's Wedding, imagine that film, but if the guy actually did leave his fiance for the main character. It's a big mess. So Daphne is understandably completely devastated. She's got nowhere to go because Peter basically kicks them out of their home. So she decides to move in with Miles. Now, who is Miles, you might ask? Miles is the guy that Petra has dumped to be with Peter. So basically, Daphne is now living with her, let me get this right, living with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex-boyfriend. I think that's right. So now Daphne and Miles have both been jilted by their partners. They are living together. It is just, it's basically an odd couple situation. Like, she's very neat and organized. Obviously, she's a librarian, right? She's got a lot of dates and everything. Like, her schedule is really organized, and Miles is kind of a mess. He's a bartender. He's got tattoos. He's kind of all over the place. But somehow they become friends. Throughout this whole ordeal, they become friends. And in one night of just being completely upset and torn up about everything, Daphne decides to post a picture of her and Miles and pretends that they are now dating. So now we have a fake dating situation, and they do this to piss off Peter and Petra, who do become pissed off, even though they have no right to be. So they are just pissed off, and now Miles and Daphne are just, they're getting over their heartbreak with this friendship, and with, Daphne is now starting to go out. She's hanging out with her librarian coworker that she becomes friends with, and she's just starting to feel like herself again. Now, of course, with fake dating situations, what always happens? Somebody always catches feelings, right? So Of course, there are feelings that start to grow between the two of them, and you know, Daphne has to figure out, is this going to work? This is crazy. What is it? What am I even thinking with this right now? And so on and so forth. So, one thing that is a hallmark, that's just a trademark of Emily Henry's writing, if you're not already a fan of her work, I would say one of her telltale qualities of her work is her humor. So in every book that she's written, good or bad or what have you, there is an element of humor, of banter between the characters, of just this fantastic dialogue. She writes some of the most hilarious dialogue I have ever read in my life. Like, so many times when I was reading this book, I was just cackling because it's just hilarious. Like, the back and forth between them was just fantastic. She also is really, really good at writing secondary characters. So all the secondary characters in this book were fantastic. Miles has this younger sister who's absolutely wonderful. There is this librarian coworker that Daphne is friends with that is my favorite character in the entire book. She's just hands down wonderful. And they're never, you know, cardboard cutouts, or they're never just there for decoration. Like, they always have these full lives and these full, you know, these full-fleshed characters. Everybody in this book is wonderful. This is a book that deals with a lot of feelings, so it's not, don't blow it off as just like, oh, it's just a fluffy rom-com, whatever. No, there's definitely a lot of like dealing with loss and dealing with grief and dealing with moving on and, you know, all that kind of stuff, right, that comes with adulthood. So a lot of feelings, but also a lot of humor, a lot of spiciness. Just gonna say that right there. And just a lot of heart. This book is just so full of heart. I absolutely loved it. And like I said, it really just made me feel good while reading it, right? And what else can you ask for when you're reading a book? We want it to make you feel good, right? So I highly recommend this. If you are not already a fan of Emily Henry, make this your first one. Start with this one and just, you're going to fall in love with it. I guarantee it. If you are a fan of her, guys, this is another hit. It's absolutely wonderful. Highly recommend it. You're not going to be able to put it down. You're not going to be able to stop laughing. Wonderful characters, wonderful dialogue, great story. Just loved it. Absolutely loved it. Funny Story by Emily Henry. Well, that's what we've got for you guys today. I hope that you are so excited to read this book. I loved it. I think you will too. It's just absolutely wonderful. So please feel free to come in and get it from Farmington Community Library. And also thank you so much for watching today. Please give this video a like if you can. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, friends, for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.